Welcome to Travels with Peshwa. Let's travel to Sri Lanka. This is Nikita here. Hello, Mr. Peshwa.
Hi.
So, Sri Lanka, the pearl of Indian Ocean. So, I would like to know your experience, like your journey to Sri Lanka. So, what was it like?
Yeah, Nikita. First, thank you. Sri Lanka has always been close to my heart because it's a pearl of the Indian Ocean, which is close to our country. Okay, so it has always been, and I have been traveling to Sri Lanka at least for the last 25 years, if not more. And across all my travels, I have done both leisure travel as well as business and work travel in Sri Lanka, both. I really think it's a fantastic island, great people, warm people, wonderful hospitality, great food. And in terms of, if you look at the culture, it's contiguous to that of India, very similar to, it is ultimately Indian subcontinent, very similar in terms of food, in terms of culture, in terms of hospitality, in terms of warmth. And what I like about the other thing of Sri Lanka is that because it has also had an Anglo-Saxon education system, so people understand English. So it's very easy to communicate. And great coastline, and I love the sea. So it's a great place. There's a lot of heritage, there's a lot of history, there's the old Buddhist history. So there's a lot of cultural exchange between India and Sri Lanka. So I always tell my friends and family, if you get a chance, you don't want to go too far away, somewhere nearby, Sri Lanka is a fantastic place for visit.
Acha. So, talking about scenic beauty and beaches, apart from that, like what's like the national forest of Sri Lanka? Like,
yeah, wonderful question. Lot of people, I don't know whether they know that Sri Lanka boasts of a large number of what is called national forest or reserves. And it is across various parts of Sri Lanka, north, south. It has quite a few of those, but one I really love, which I always want to tell my viewers, which is that if you're going to Sri Lanka, do not miss out on going to this place. This is called Yala National Park or Yala National Forest. Okay. The fun of this park is that it is towards the southeastern part of Sri Lanka, the island, and it is actually on the coastline. So if you're going to the forest, you can actually have the beach view on the beach and then move into the forest. Not very far away from Galle or Mirissa. So basically you can stay over at Galle and then go to Mirissa, then go to Hambantota and then go to Yala. I have had very great experience. Last time when I went there, actually the driver who was there, he was also our guide and driver, and you have to take a special vehicle. So if you go in your car, you have to park it at the entrance of the forest or the national park or reserve. Then they'll take you inside in their own car, the typical forest jeeps and cars which is there. And this driver became very friendly with me, and actually he took me to his house. I went to his house, so it's a very nice warm atmosphere. But the fun of Yala is that, which I keep on telling travelers, is this is one of the national forests where you will actually find all the big four, big five, which is the leopard and the elephants and local bison, all of them in a place where you, even within 2-3 hours, you will have sighting of that. So you don't have to travel 500-1000 kilometers inside to do the sighting. And I'm sure you will have sighting of elephant, of bison, of course the monkeys and deers and all that, and also leopard. This is the advantage of the thing. So my strong recommendation is that if you're doing Sri Lanka, do Yala. It's definitely worth a visit.
Actually, just tell me, you just mentioned Mirissa, it's a small town, seaside town, So, like, why is it so, like, famous? Or what is it famous for?
Wonderful question. Interesting question. So Mirissa is one of those small sleepy towns and very well known for sea surfing. So people who are surfers, this is a place to go. Like in Tamil Nadu, we have Tuticorin and all. So this is Mirissa is a place for surfers. Not that I always do surfing, but it's a great surfers place. But the fun of Mirissa, I don't know how many people know, it's one of the few places in the world from where you can go out during the season and actually do blue whale sighting. So if you are one of those people who like to see the blue whale, which is, by the way, the largest mammal in Earth, you must have studied in geography and in at your school. So
Bigger than elephant.
it is much bigger than elephant, largest mammal, and really a sight to watch if you go out. So there are only, I think, 2 places in the world where you can do blue whale sighting. So one is the Baja, California, Mexico Peninsula, as they call. That is one place in North America. And the second one is bottom of the continental plate of Sri Lanka in Indian Ocean beyond Mirissa. So Mirissa is the kind of southernmost tip of Sri Lanka. So from here, and when we went, we really loved it. This is something once in a lifetime. You must do the blue whale sighting. This is what I say. Typically, the best season to go is November to maybe February. Unfortunately, we went in month of May, which is really not the season, because usually in May the sea is very rough. But we still did the sighting. So my recommendation would be try to do it in November, December. And this is something really worth doing. Don't miss out on blue whale sighting from Mirissa.
How is it far from Galle?
In fact, Galle is not very far away from Mirissa, quite near. And Galle has a lot of culture and history.
So Galle is basically called as the place which wears history on its sleeve.
Absolutely. I think whoever has said this has said the right thing. I love Galle. In fact, my recommendation to my fellow travelers would be, don't just make Colombo and Kandy the center of your travel. Make Galle the center of your travel when you are going to Sri Lanka. From there, you can go towards the south, to the east, and the whole western coast. It's a great place to stay in. And why it is called a historical place, and there is so much of layering of Galle is, I think it is one of the few places which has had number of colonial powers actually taking over the city. So over time, if you look at it, so there is a lot of European. So it was first, I think, in the 16th century, if I'm not mistaken, where the Portuguese. Then it was the Dutch. And then, of course, finally, Sri Lanka had English empire or colonial. So all the colonial powers were there. And today it is largely known as a Dutch. There is a lot of Dutch settlement in Sri Lanka. Galle is known for that. But you will find remnants of Portuguese also. So to me, it's a fantastic small town. Small roads. There are a lot of painters we'll see in those alleys and roads, artisans, painters. There'll be those nice, quaint coffee shops you can enjoy, nice resorts and hotels to stay in, good food. There is a maritime museum which is worth visiting, because Galle was essentially the maritime center of Sri Lanka and Asia for quite some time. Because if you see all the ships which are coming from Europe and going to East Indies, the southern part of Asia, this is which they will touch through. So this is like a port of Galle. That is what Galle was. There's a Galle fort worth visiting. So there's a lot of history, there's a lot of culture, a lot of multi-colonial powers which were there. So you will see a little bit of that, and you can pick up those vibes. So as I call the Galle vibes. So it's a must do.
Acha, what do you prefer? So now you talk about all cultural and historic places and all. So 5-star hotels or historic places to stay.
Yeah. So again, interesting question. It is all your choice. You can stay in an Airbnb, you can stay in a good branded resort, you can stay in a 5-star, 7-star resort, hotel, various things. But in Galle, whenever I go, I will always suggest to you, there is a place which is possibly the oldest 5-star hotel of Sri Lanka, if I'm not mistaken. The name of this place is called Jetwing Lighthouse. And let me tell you, I have no commercial relationship with Jetwing Group of Sri Lanka, nor any hotel, nor even with the Sri Lankan Tourism Board, unless they want me to become their brand ambassador. I have no commercial relationship. This is out of my own passion that I'm suggesting to you. This is a fantastic property to stay in. Jetwing Lighthouse in Galle. And there's a lot of layered history in that. Do you know some of those? Okay. So there's a lot of layered history. In fact, some of the Indian people will know that Jetwing Lighthouse was one of the places where our famous photographer Atul Kasbekar has actually done the Kingfisher calendar shoot. A few years ago, I think. So they have done it. You guys may have seen it. So it is a heritage resort stroke hotel in Galle on the coastline with great heritage rooms. They have maintained it with a lot of design, artifacts and art and great food. But the fun of this hotel is, this is by the famous designer of Sri Lanka. He's a very famous guy. Okay, in Sri Lanka, yeah. This fellow person's name is Geoffrey Bawa. And do you know what he is famous for?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it is not just about his designer talent and professional talent. He seemed to be a very personally colorful guy, very colorful on his personal life. And so there is a lot of, maybe real or gossip which is around this person, Geoffrey Bawa. And one thing I still remember. Okay, by the way, it's a great design, lot of artifacts in the hotel. So these are all great points for you to visit, know, see the artifacts. These are places you can take your photos with, Instagrammable as they call it nowadays. But Geoffrey Bawa was famous for one thing. Apparently, he's had multiple partners and wives. And apparently so many that there was a statute which had to be passed by the Sri Lankan government that he cannot do any further marriages. Such interesting stuff. Now, whether this is real or gossip, I don't know. All of you can check it out. But this seems really a different layer so to this gentleman. So that's really the layer in that person, the designer I wanted to share with you. So, but it's a good place to stay in. We enjoyed staying there.
Ajay, to conclude with, so I would like to know, what is that one thing, it's like a takeaway thing from Sri Lanka. Like, if you want to carry something, like an item or something, like a shopping thing, what is that you would want people to have?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting question you have said. Wherever I travel, especially some of those places which have a lot of history, I always bring back something from that country, that region, that city. Okay. One is, it is a memorabilia for us at our home to remember when we had gone and what we have picked up. So it is a little bit of building those memories. More importantly, it's also about giving back to that particular people, and especially if it is something handcrafted, not mass manufactured from maybe a China or somewhere, then it is like giving back to the people something. So I tend to do that wherever I travel. And Sri Lanka has large amount of opportunities. As all of you know, there is tea, coffee, fruits, vegetables, then there is handicrafts, and a lot of things which you can pick up from Sri Lanka. But one thing which I really liked is, and I don't know how many of the viewers and people know, Sri Lanka is very good also for leather products. Fantastic leather products. And one of my close friends, in fact I'll mention Mr. Takshila, he is in Colombo. He took me, when I last went to Colombo, Sri Lanka, to their national emporium. Like we have in India, Cottage Emporium, there's an emporium there, national government emporium called Laksara. Okay, and I suggest that the viewers and travelers must go there. And I picked up something very interesting in leather. Let me show you. So this is actually a handcrafted leather bag. And the fun is that it is embossed and motifed with elephants. Very nice. We really loved it. I picked up quite a few things, but this is one which was handy. I wanted to show it to you guys. I quite like it. And in no way this is less than a Louis Vuitton bag, if you may call. It is pure leather. You can really use it well, very functional and very artistic, and it's absolutely handcrafted. This is from Laksara, and by the way, I have no commercial relationship with either Sri Lankan Tourism Board or Laksara or anyone. It is out of my sheer passion that I am doing this. And I would be happy to be the brand ambassador for Sri Lankan Tourism Board, because I think they have a great opportunity in the country, and I love the country. But this is something which people can pick up, which is basically leather products, and it is available, and great places to stay also in Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Mr. Peshwa. That was really wonderful insight on like Sri Lankan tourism and travel. Like, I'm sure like everybody would like to travel to Sri Lanka. Like, you have changed their perspective. Like,
thank you, Nikita, for kind of conversing with me. Really great. So, Sri Lanka is not just about the sun and the surf and the sand and the seafood. There is a lot of history behind it. There's a strong relationship. It's a Buddhist country. There are a lot of linguistic people there. It's a great country to visit. Diversity with a lot of various colonial powers, maritime strength, great island, good forest, easy, very hospitable and warm people. Yes, blue whale is there, and a lot of Buddhist historical things are there, and a lot of handicrafts. So I love Sri Lanka. Do travel and keep on subscribing to my channel, view my channel. This is Peshwa saying bye to you guys. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you.